Okay, hello and welcome. This is what the stories say. You know that this is the place where we tell stories, our whispered stories, our family histories, our long lost and sometimes forgotten traditions. Today, as promised, I invite you under the conversation tree. As we know, that tree is at the intersection of the highway, the East Coast Highway in Guyana, connecting Georgetown. And in my dissertation project, I said at the end that I envision people under this tree. So today I'm inviting our sister, Beatrice Achaleke, Ankwetta Beatrice Achaleke. Beatrice, come on in. Tell us about yourself.
Good morning, Pauline. Good morning, my sister from the other side of the ocean. Thank you for inviting me to your show. You and I go some years back, and the circumstances of our meeting was very coincidental. I would say divinely set up. So I am Beatrice Ankwetta. That's the name given to me by my grandmother, Ankwetta. So I am a learning mom of two amazing kids, a very proud African woman, a passionate serial author and publisher, and someone who is learning how to live in the moment and to do things that are close to her heart, and to defy all odds and to always be on the positive side of life. She is that woman who says yes, yes, yes to life.
Amen. I agree. I met Beatrice under some interesting circumstances. As a matter of fact, I met this woman on YouTube talking about when shit happens, how you clean it up. People, this woman knows how to clean up shit. So I decided to invite her, and she invited me to follow her to Africa. This is the one and the same Beatrice who invited me to follow her to Africa. And guess what? Yours truly went and followed her to Africa. Who does crazy stuff like that? I did. I followed her. So Beatrice.
Two crazy women.
I know.
Yes.
We've been promising to have this conversation for a while now. But you've told us who you are. And I would say to my audience, Beatrice wears many hats. And I'm telling you, sister to sister, this woman has taught me a lot. Now, she's a serial author and she's turned me into one. So I'm following her in every way. I mean, she shares her ideas with me without hesitation. And I'm so grateful for that. So Beatrice, I invited you here to tell stories. What are you passionate about these days?
You know, what I'm passionate about goes back to what you just said. I learned from Maya Angelou that when you learn, you teach. And I learned from life that throws things at you like shit's happening. Had shit not happened, you and I would not know each other. And the serial author in you will probably be somewhere, right? And a couple of other serial authors that I've had the opportunity to coach, and I wouldn't have been the serial author myself. So I've learned that when life throws stuff at you, it's sometimes because you have outgrown your space and you're still lying in there. Just imagine it like this. You are in a baby cot and now you are an adult. You're still trying to fit into the baby cot. So you kill your dreams, you kill a whole lot of things that you're capable of doing, and you kill the purpose for which the universe sent you here for. So I've learned from life that when you jump out, and no matter how cold it is outside that space, no matter how hot it is, no matter how uncertain it is, no matter how crazy it sounds, just like you jumped out of your comfort and you followed me to Africa, a woman that you've never met before. I could have been a serial killer, I could have been anything. So today, here we are. So that's what I'm passionate about, using what I've learned and what I've learned from my own experiences, from the experiences of life, from what I've learned from people who have gone ahead of me or who have gone through situations, using it to impact, to encourage, to motivate other people to take risky decisions, to dare to be bold, to dare to do things that scare you, to dare to jump out of the box.
Right. You know what? When you were talking, it occurred to me that you have to have a level of consciousness about yourself, awareness of yourself, to make those moves. And to our listeners, what we're talking about today is how you grow so big. In Guyana, Beatrice, like when I met her people, she said, "Who are you? Where did you come from? Who are you?" because she never heard of people like me. We are Black people all the way in the village of Buxton. Yes. And our ancestors came from the continent. So we say, how you grow so big. It means like one of the things on your journey that have contributed to your being and your becoming. So tell us a story, because your story is big. Can you find a particular story that you want to share with us today that you don't mind telling people all over the globe? Take it away.
My story, I'm an open book. But let me take you to the title, How You Grow So Big. We say that in Pidgin as well. You just say like, no, you don't grow plenty. You grow plenty. So you don't grow plenty means that you've grown a lot. You grow plenty means that you are growing. You're growing a lot.
So like how you grow so plenty.
Means that plenty is yes.
Yes.
So back to, so we have those similarities, right? Your Creole and the Pidgin that we speak, and this is something that we talked about when we first met.
Yes.
That there's so many similarities here. So back to the stories, what I would like to share. When stuff happened to my life, I was 45, turning 46. That was 2014, and I ran out of cash, and it was in November, close to Christmas season, very cold in Europe. And Beatrice was this woman who has been all over the place, and she's on TV, she's on the radio, she is everywhere, but just not on her bank account, like my bank director told me. And my daughter has the way of reminding me about that, saying, Mama, you're always everywhere, you're always working, even on the weekend, but we never have enough money. So I have kids who can talk to you, straightforward. And that was that time I had moved in my office. My kid brother has passed away. It was within 4 months. So much happened in my life that I've never seen in the 46 years that I was alive. So I knew that I had to make some radical decisions. I had to quit blaming people. I had to quit blaming the system. I had to quit blaming God. I had to quit blaming whoever and take full responsibility of what was happening to my life. And that also meant that I needed to take some radical decisions and assume the consequences. It meant that I had to do some really tough, uncomfortable conversations, not just with myself, with my inner self, about who I was becoming, who I wanted to become, and where I was going to go to out of that situation, but also how I was going to communicate those things that I was discovering in me and the radical decisions that I was making to the people who are dearest to me, who may be, who could misunderstand me, or who will definitely ultimately be affected by the decisions that I had already made that brought us to where we were, and those that I was going to make to take us out of there. Those are my kids, my friends, and my family.
Right. So at that time, so at that time you were in Austria when all this is going down.
That's right.
Right.
So that is the background of what I want to tell you, the big lesson that I learned that I would love to share. So when I made the decision to leave Austria, to go back to Africa, precisely to South Africa, so many things happened. This is a woman who has been in Europe for 20 years. She has been, again, all over the place, but she neither has money on her account in Austria, nor has she got a home in Africa, in her home country, Cameroon, nor a bank account, nor a piece of land, nor anything. She's just who she is. This body, this one. She's not broke. She's not broke. She's just this, living in the moment with all of this. I wouldn't call her broke.
And what is all of this? What is all of this? What do you mean by all of this?
All of this, P, I've come to understand that our ultimate possession in life is this body. It's anything that you can't leave at home when you leave your house. Every other property, every other material property, whatever you amass, you didn't come here with it. You will not go back, you will not go into the grave with it. But this body, this thing that you carry, not your handbag, not the dress that you wear, anything that you can leave at home when you leave home, it does not belong to you. It does not belong to you. What belongs to you is anything. When you're living home, you can't leave away your boots. You can't say, I don't need my boots, I don't need them. I don't need my boots. I don't need my feet today where I'm going. this Caracas, whatever you call it, is my possession. So she was living, and she still lives in this body, because that's for her the moment.
Wow.
Okay. So coming back to the story, when I made that decision to move, someone in South Africa promised me a job. And I was so happy. I was like, universe, you answered my call. Thank you so much. Even though I'm not a person that works for someone. But I was happy that I needed, because I had not been on a regular income. I was like, okay, I'm going to a new country. I'm going to have a regular income. I'm not going to be on someone's paycheck. Fantastic. That will help me to kind of settle and find myself. Because remember, coming to South Africa, I had not money, just had my 2 suitcases, no work contract, no bank account, no nothing again, just again, my body, my infinite possession.
Right.
So this is me coming to South Africa twice to negotiate with this guy. It's exciting. We're going to be selling. I've never been a seller, but I believe in the concept that Judge Benson said, if someone offers you a job and you don't know how to do it, say yes and go learn how to do it. So I was planning to come learn how to sell the product of that gentleman. And the craziest thing about this story was that I was an African Austrian, a Cameroonian Austrian, and he was an Austrian African, because he was born in Austria, he moved to South Africa, and he's South African. So we're like crazy, we're going to blend these 2 stories together, and we're going to do the best-selling pitch ever. Yeah. So I visit this guy twice, we draft a work contract and all of that, and everything is set. I go back to Austria in February. And he said, I'll send you your work contract so you can go get your visa and prepare your children. While I was in South Africa, he took me to the school, a German school. You can send your children here. This is where my children go to school, and everything was fine. Mm-hmm. So this is me. I go back and say, I'm cleaning off my stuff, my shit.
Yes.
Everything is set. Now I'm moving back to Africa and even have a job, work contract. So I take my kids out of school, cancel my renter contract, my lease contract, sold everything in my house. And I'm texting this guy and say, can you send me, I'm all set. I just need the work contract to go apply for my visa. So he takes his time, like 3 weeks. And then he writes me back and said, I changed my mind. On that day, one of my friends had traveled like 4 hours from one province of Austria to come to Vienna to help me sort out do the last sorting out and get things out of the place so we could have set that apartment free. And so she's sitting outside, she's saying, when is your contract coming? When is your contract coming? I'm saying, I'm waiting for it. Anytime, no worries, it will come. We are set. And so that morning, she's outside and I hear the sound of a message coming in, go to my laptop, and I see this guy's email. I said, yo, the contract is here. Wow. So went down to read the email and it says, I'm sorry, I changed my mind. So I took a deep breath. And I said to my friend said, so what is it? When are you leaving? What is on the contract? When are you going to apply for the visa? And I said, he changed his mind. And my friend jumped up and said, what? How can he do that? That's not normal. You have to sue him. Anyway, so right now, what are we going to do? We have to reverse your rental contract. We will reverse we'll take back your kid to school. We have to take back all the stuff that we're giving to people. I said, stop, lady, stop, girl. Right now, right here, something is happening. The universe is telling me something and I need to listen. If you're shouting that way, I can't hear. Give me time to listen. So she was all over the place and I sat down and I said, okay, I don't know why you sent me this guy, the universe, ancestors, I don't know, but I don't know why you took him away, but there is certainly a reason and I need you to help me to understand the reason. Mm-hmm. So the next thing I wanted to do is I don't want to hate this guy. That was the first thought that came to my mind. You don't want to hate this guy. So I took his business card and I placed in front of my device so that's where I'm always at. I'm saying, if I look at this device, that voice says, if you look at that card and you have bad feelings, you're on the wrong track. So make sure that you pour understanding on that business card. And I don't know why. So I just kind of tried to do that. And I said, okay, now I'm free again. So what am I going to do? So I asked myself 3 questions. If this kind of situation happens to your children in future, how will you want them to react? What do you want them to say? What would you want them to say? Mom would have done it this way. That was question number one. Number two, what role do you want this guy to play in your next life, in the next chapter of your life? Who is the character what character do you want to give him? I was sure I don't even want to give him a character. He was just a stepping stone. And the third one is, where do you go from now? Where do you go from now? Mm-hmm. So I had to think over those questions. They just popped up. Mm-hmm. The first question, my answer was, I want my children to never, ever fear taking risk. I want them to never, ever cut short because someone says they can't.
Yes.
Not for anything in the world. So I made the decision, girl, you're going to South Africa. You had planned it. You go to South Africa, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Question number two, what role, what character, what role do you want this guy to play in the next chapter of your life? I said, nothing. He has just been an enabler. He just let me understand that I could go to South Africa. He was here to tell me that I could do it. So for that, I need to love him. He opened the door and showed me it is possible. So it dawned on me that I had learned another lesson, that there's some people in life. I have something that I call the relationship map. So on that relationship map, I put people who come into my life. And I watch what is it that they want to do, what I think that they can do, and I watch what they can do. So on that relationship map, there's a group of people that I call vision enablers.
Right. Vision
enablers are people who come into your life just once. You may see them just once, but they show you something much bigger than anyone else will ever show you. So this guy was just my vision enabler, the vision to move out of Europe after 20 years and go back to Africa. So he was my vision enabler. His job is complete and done. Now, girl, it's up to you. He has enabled your vision. It is possible to go to South Africa.
Right.
And the third one was, what is your next step? The next step was pack your 2 suitcases, continue the process, and make sure that you go to South Africa as you planned. So that was in April. In July 28, I found myself leaving my 2 kids behind and moving into a country without a permit. I just had a visiting permit, 3 months, but with the intention to stay. What to do, I had no clue, but I trusted in that voice that keeps talking to me that I'll find something to do when I get here. Wow. So that is the story. I could expand it today. I'm so happy that I didn't take that job, because I probably would have been frustrated. I wouldn't be the author. My books would not be read in school. I would not know you, Pauline, my sister, and I would not know a bunch of people. That the journey has not been easy, that's clear. But hey, don't we learn and grow along bumpy roads? So that's the story that I wanted to share. Never, never let someone, if someone comes into your space, give them a role, but watch out what role the universe wants them to play in your life, and understand when that role is complete. So you're left on yourself. Don't point fingers, don't blame. Pick up where you ended and run, 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 run. Find your way and run.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things I want to say. You talked about, going to South Africa as if it was destined. When I went to South Africa to meet you, I almost didn't go. At the same time I planned to come, I won an award in New York. And I was thinking I should go to New York to get that award. And I talked to my little sister and I said, this thing is here. I could go to New York rather than South Africa. And she said, go where you plan to first. And the world has changed now. If I put that off and to say go now, what would this be about? And to the listening audience, having gone there, I met this woman who challenged herself, who used that, setback into a
So that's my daughter calling from Austria. Just one moment.
Yes.
My daughter is on the way to write an exam. That's what it means to parent from afar. So go ahead with your audience. Just allow me to say a few words to her. She's on the way to write her exam.
So
just carry on.
Yeah. So Beatrice took her opportunity and I took mine. And having met her, I was able to write my books and so on. So it brings this whole thing full circle. As a matter of fact, the night when I met her online, shit was happening in my life too. I was sitting there looking at my computer and watching someone rob my bank account. The texts were coming in. Oh, the transaction didn't go through. I'm thinking, what transaction? And then finally, it's a transaction went through, $2,000. I'm like, I'm not doing anything in this account. And so I had to wait until morning because I was in Guam at the time and I couldn't call the bank, but somebody was robbing my bank account. So while I'm sitting there in this paralysis, so to speak, and this, disbelief, I saw you when this shit happens. It's just coincidental that things happen, or maybe fortuitous. But I'm glad you shared that story. When you were telling me, I was wondering to myself, what have your children to say about the moves you have? Do you see any impact on their lives?
Talking about my children, I just have my daughter on the line. She's going
Hi,
for
Victoria.
exams, sending me the dress. No, she's sending me a picture if the dress is proper for her to go for the official exam. It's an oral exam. So just wait one moment. Baby girl, I love that outfit. It's the one that you used when you went for, where is it? Baby girl, I love that outfit. It's the one you used when you went for the written part. The other oral part of the exam. So it's one that brings you good luck. Definitely go for that. It's beautiful. It's elegant. So good luck. I'll talk to you when you're done. Okay, love you.
So sweet.
So that's it. What did my kids say? It's very interesting. They had seen the things that we had gone through, and I talked about communication. When stuff is happening to your life, you need to communicate like you've never communicated before. So my kids knew everything that was going on in our lives, and I had told them that we're definitely going to make some radical moves. I wrote the book Shit Happens. Inside here, there's there are a couple of chapters where I have conversations in there with my kids. What my daughter says about moving, what my son says, what some of my friends says, what some of the top people, ministers that I used to work with, what they said about my move. But ultimately, they said, Mom, go for it. You always tell us to be independent. You always tell us to be to make radical decisions and to be accountable. You always teach us to never accept circumstances that we know are less than what we want.
Right.
So they allowed me to move while the rest of the world was judging me, telling me, you're a bad mom. How can you leave your children behind? And all of those things. There was one other thing that I swear to myself, P. I swear to myself that I don't want to, at any one point in my life, put the burden on my children by saying, I would have done this had I not wanted to be there for my children. Right. And I think a lot of parents sacrifice their dreams because they think that they're doing the children a favor. And we create a generation of trauma of children thinking that they are responsible for the miseries of their parents. They are the reason why their parents could not go for what they wanted. And we keep saying this sometimes in front of the children. I wanted my children to say, my mom went for it. Yes. She went for her dreams. And P, let me tell you, I've never been a prouder mom. I left my kids. My daughter was 12, my son was 13. Yeah. Today, my son, 2 weeks ago, he moved in with his girlfriend. He moved out of his father's place when he turned 18. He is doing so many jobs. He's doing so many things. He's happier than I've ever seen him. My daughter is passing one exam. Last week, she just did her driver's license at 18. And what they tell me, they say, Mom, we're looking up to you. You're there doing your thing, writing your books and getting them to the school system. And we know that we have to be as good as you. And I'm telling them, children, you are there doing your thing, and I don't have any reason to be lazy. I have to be as good as you. So we become healthily competitive. We look up to one another for who we are becoming because of the circumstances. And my daughter recently said, had you not moved and left us with Dad, I wouldn't have gone to the school that I went to, and I wouldn't have all the wonderful girlfriends that I have today. I would probably be on the other side of town where we were living, and I don't know what would have been, and I didn't like that side anymore. Yeah. And my son is saying, look at me, I'm making my own decision and growing up. I'm doing my things, I'm earning my own money, I'm independent. I don't need anyone. So I own my life. He's 20 now. Yeah. And so had I not moved, and my daughter said, had you not moved, you'll probably be policing me here and there, you'll be checking me here and there, you'll be giving me instructions, but you're out there doing your thing. I'm not controlling you, you're not controlling me. We're just accepting one another. Yeah. And P, to get there, there is one principle that I had to bring out. Yes. I don't call them. I don't throw things at them. Sometimes my son doesn't call me for 1 month. And when he comes, I'm happy. I don't say, you didn't call me. You didn't call me on my birthday. We don't do that conversation.
Okay.
We made a commitment. I love you. We love each other passionately. We are committed to each other, but we're not attached. Today, if life takes me away to the other side, my kids can stand on their own. Why? Because they've learned how to fend on their own.
You got to pause there. Committed but not attached. That's
yes.
me.
Attachment brings expectations. Yes. Attachment brings expectations. Yes. It brings in insecurity. It brings fears. And sometimes our expectations are not what the person we are attaching ourselves to, and know that we have such expectations. Right. And when they don't get met, we become disappointed. There's discontent, resentment, and all of those negative feelings.
Yes, yes. I think my sister had a similar experience. She says, my daughter is my daughter. I don't make decisions for her. I am not here to tell her how to live. I'm here to guide. When she needs me, she asks me. She knows I'm here. And so she's parenting in a very different way, because if you try to attach, oh my gosh, you strangle sometimes, you know? But it takes a level of maturity and, like you said, communication. So I think maybe talk about shifts. What kind of shifts did you go through when you were experiencing this situation, other than the ones you talked about? I mean, let's talk about maybe your, I don't know if you should go there, romantic shifts. I mean, with your spouse and stuff like that. What kind of shifts? Were you done with that? Or was it easy for you to move on so that you can be this person you are today?
There were so many shifts that I had to go through, but if we focus on that one, I had no partner at the time. Okay. I had just my kid. Okay. I had separated I moved in 2015. The separation, my kid's dad and I were separated in 2009. But we are great parents. We are great friends. We talk today. So when I made that decision, I had to call him. I had to sit him down. He was in a relationship then. I had to call him first and said, okay, we have dual parenting, dual custody. I'm going to have to make some very radical decisions. And I want you to know it's all right by me, because the kids were living with me at the time. It's all right if you decide to take the kids with you. But if I will prefer you allowed me to go with them. But if you want to keep them, it's fine. What is non-negotiable is the fact that I'm leaving. Okay. It's the fact that I'm leaving. Okay. So, and he said, give me some time to think over it. I said, as long as you need, but I need that decision within 7 days. He calls me after 2 days because I needed to act quickly. Yeah. He calls me after 7 days and he said, after 3 days, and he said, I have thought about it. It's definitely going to be heartbreaking for me to see them go. But you know what I love about you is that you do your thing. You don't settle for things that you don't like. Yeah. I see no one can stop you from moving. And if I keep the kids here, they will not know any other realities than the realities that they already know. But if you take them to another context, it will give them exposure, something that I can never give them. So please go with them. We will find an arrangement for me to meet them. So today they're living with him because it didn't work out the way we planned. Okay. So I had to go back to him and say, this thing is not working. How do we do? And he said, keep them here. They can stay for as long as they want. Go find yourself. Yeah. So I did not, but I had a relationship with myself. I was at a time when I was building an emotional, intimate relationship with myself, the me that I was becoming. So inside that book again, this one, there is a chapter that I call Uncomfortable Conversations. Yes. That's when the two voices in Beatrice came up. There is one that is Asime, which is the voice of fear and uncertainty, the voice that I gave the name Globuntu, and there's a conversation going on, and I am watching and collecting and writing that conversation down. That was my therapy. That was the way building that relationship with myself. That was finding me, letting go the things, the people, and whatever was that was no longer serving the needs that I was having at that moment, and those that I would have when I make that move. So that was me decluttering, that was me detoxing, that was me peeling the layers of 20 years, of 46 years of having been told who I have to be, what I have to do, where I have to be to, where I have to go to, and all of that. So that conversation was for me peeling the layers. And I got to the woman in me who admitted, you think you're a superwoman, right? You got needs as a woman, and you got to learn to touch base with that woman in you and stop being that super mom, superwoman, a woman that makes it all self-made. You are deep inside of you. You want to be loved. You want to just be a woman at some point. Admit it. So you can't keep running away from that. Yeah. So that's the relationship that I had to build with myself. That's the one shift that I had to make. The shift of saying, I have to think for me now, not just for my children. I have to think much bigger than the moment.
Right.
I have to caring about what people will say or will not say into caring about what I really want. Mm-hmm. So there were a number of shifts that happened right there. That's why the concept that I was working at the time is called the global mind shift. Mm-hmm. It's not a mindset. It's a mind shift because my mind keeps shifting. I don't want to set it on anything. I keep shifting it when a mission is complete, the purpose is complete, I shift it to another one. So that's the essence of that concept.
Bingo. And people, that's how she grows so big. Thank you, Beatrice. I think we have food for thought here for days and days and days. You got to come back and we're going to have more conversations. So what do you think?
Anytime, sister.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you when I see you, people. Listeners, walk good.
Thank you.